examples are there that we'll discuss. So let me present something. So in the last class, I have shown that reversible first order reactions, the if you plot the product concentration and reactant concentration at such time, then the curve will follow. This is an arbitrary example that we assume that uh, products will be formed at a greater extent compared to reactant. That is the normal situation. And they normally approaches to some constant value, which we call the equilibrium values, that is concentration at equilibrium state of the reaction. Okay. Now the second order reactions of the type reactant A to products. Normally we express it in the differential reply in this form, that is minus dAdt equal to K square. I think this is known to you. You are familiar with this. Okay. Uh, okay. So you know this equation, and this is the integrated rate equation, that is T equal to 1 upon K rate constant into 1 upon K. Hello? Okay. So I think you are familiar with this sort of expression, that is integrated on integration. If you starting from this equation, you can easily get this expression, that is T equal to 1 upon K rate constant into 1 upon A, that is concentration of reactant at any time, and minus 1 upon A0, that is the reactant concentration at the very beginning, that is before the start of the reaction. Now, if more than one reactant species are, this is a simple second order reaction. And suppose if you have, instead of that particular reaction, if you have a second order reaction involving two different reactants, this is A and B, then you can write this, say for example, starting equation would be somewhat like that, that is more general, or say you can write like this, concentration of DADP, right? Or suppose sometimes you can write it in this form, that is initially at time t equal to 0, reach at this. So I am not writing explicitly in this form because you know this. Say suppose initial concentration A after time 6 moves decompose and 1 is to 1 stoichiometric ratio. Initial concentration of B is say B minus X, that you are familiar with. Actually here A is equal to A0 in my rate equation, and B is here initial concentration of reactant B, like that you have denoted here. Okay, and in that case, this expression you can write in this form, that is dx dt equal to K into concentration of A into concentration of B, like that. This is the rate equation. And here, say, you can put it in any way. So this is the ultimate expression. Actually, here A means A minus X. This quantity here is A, and this quantity denoted as B, concentration of reactant at any time B. So this is the rate equation, differential rate equation of this type. And if you integrate it, right, then you will get an expression like this. That is T equal to 1 upon K into A0 minus B0 into ln means log A base, concentration of B0A, A0 into B. and you can derive it, and you can also find in textbook. It is available locally. Okay. Now, suppose we consider a reaction like this, that is hydrolysis of sugar, cane sugar. You know that. So this hydrolysis produces uh, monosaccharide, that is glucose, and this results what? Actually, there is a property that you know what is plain polarized light, where a normal light passes through two different slits, then one can make a plain polarized light. That means vibration of the electric and magnetic field that will be restricted to in a plane. So that's why it is called a plain polarized light. And if that light passes through a solution containing sugar, uh, so if we suppress the hydrolysis, suppose then sugar molecule, yes, sugar C12H22O11, it can rotate the plane polarized light in the right direction, that is uh, clockwise direction. But the product, say glucose, it has a tendency to rotate the plane polarized light, that is electric vector, it will turn left, that means anti-clockwise. So this we call inversion of cane sugar, and this can be studied using a polarimeter instrument. A very simple instrument. I don't know whether you are familiar with this kind of instrument. It is a very small instrument, and through this instrument, it is easy to study the kinetics of this inversion of cane sugar. Now, the ultimate rate expression of this inversion of cane sugar can be represented like this. That is, reaction rate is equal to K into uh, sugar cane, concentration of sugar cane. This is the general expression of the rate. That is the differential rate equation. And similar other reaction is this. That we discussed in the last class, that is hydrolysis of ethyl acetate in acid medium. It produces acetic acid and ethanol. Okay. And for this reaction also, look, although two reactant species, water and ethyl acetate, that is ester, take part in the chemical reaction, but in the ultimate differential rate equation, we see that only the concentration of ester is ester acid, right? So concentration of water is not involved in the rate equation. This is interesting. Similar to this reaction also in the inversion of cane sugar, all those sugar molecules react with water molecules. Both are reactive species, but still water is absent in the differential rate equation. Now the question is why. That we'll discuss. But before that, you should know that this kind of reactions we call pseudo-unimolecular reaction. Right, as if a single molecule or reactant species is involved in this reaction. Okay. Now the question is why? How we can explain that? That can be derived, that can be understood easily from the general that is these kind of rate equations, that is where A and B, that is two different kinds of species are involved. I can show you. So okay. But before that, I can recommend you the books. You can go through physical chemistry. You can go through any undergraduate textbook available in your area, or the e-library, electronic copy of Summer Library of our institute, it is available to you. You can download these books. Physical chemistry text by P.C. Yoxin and also by G.W. Castellan. This is a very nice book that you can also consult. And there is another book, Physical Chemistry by P.W. Atkin. All these are very nice books and presented in a lucid way and in detail although. But you can consult all these three books if you did. Otherwise, if you follow my lecture and then I think it will be no problem to you. Okay. Pisciroxide, G.W. Castellan, Physical Chemistry by P.W. Atkins. Another book is I.N. Levine. That is fourth book is also there. That is that I can add. That is also a nice book. That is I.N. Levine. That physical chemistry. It is also physical chemistry textbook. This is also a very good book. Okay. Now the question is how we can explain that these apparently molecular reactions, how we can uh, identify or how we can explain based on the kinetics study. Okay. So this is straightforward in that sense that okay, I'll show you. I will show you. Okay, but before that, okay, I can show you. Yes, yes, yes. Here you can see that suppose this is the reaction A plus B to C plus D. These are the initial concentrations T0 and B0 at any time T. Concentration of A and B is written A, B. Now the integrated rate equation you can derive it. Okay. Uh, okay. Now say suppose we have taken say hydrolysis of ester or whatever any reaction you can choose because both reactions whether it is inversion of cane sugar or hydrolysis of ester in acid medium both requires water as a reactant species. And suppose water is taken in large excess, right? So here A plus B, now B we have taken water and A may be either a star or second sugar, right? In this equation, say A is the water and uh, sorry, B is water and A you can take either cane sugar, C12H by O11 or you can take it as star molecule as a representative. Okay, ethyl acetate. Now, since we have taken water in large excess compared to other reactant A, that means concentration of reactant B, that is water, will remain as if unchanged even after the reaction is over because concentration of other reactant A is taken in very small amount. Okay. So we can write concentration of B0, this is the initial condition, that is B0 is much greater than A0. Okay. So based on the assumption, can we write the this equation, general integrated rate equation for second order reaction, that is that we can write minus 1 upon k B0. Why? Because B0 is large axis compared to A0, so we ignore A0. So that's why we can write in the first part minus 1 upon k B0. And in the logarithmic part, you see, since B0 is in large excess compared to A0, so we can write it here like this. That is, B we can take as if B0, this assumption. So instead of B, here in this equation B, we put B0. And as a result of that, this equation becomes like this. And since B0 is a constant, we can take it to constant K and put it as another constant K prime. So T equals to minus 1 upon K prime ln A by A0. And we can absorb the negative sign like this. Now, I think you can identify this reaction is nothing but integrated rate equation corresponding to the first order kinetics. Right, integrated rate equation corresponding to the first order kinetics. So that means if these reactions, that is whether it is hydrolysis of starch or immersion of cane sugar, if you carry out these reactions in aqueous medium, then the apparent rate law suggests that these reactions are first order with respect to a reactant species which is taken in small amount. There is either ester or say sugar molecule. Okay. But if you carry out, you can think of, if you carry out the same reactions in non-aqueous medium, then what would happen? Say acetic anhydride is in a non-aqueous medium. There, if you can take water in small amount and also a star in small amount, then the reaction would follow normally the second order kinetics involving two different reactant species A and B. Right. So that means if you carry out the same reaction in a non-aqueous solvent, say for example acetic anhydride like that, then you have to take both water and say ester molecule, or you can take sugar and water molecule because these are the reactant species. And in that case, the reactions would obey the or follow the normal second order kinetics. Now at this stage, if you have any confusion, please let me know. Any confusion, if you have স্যার ক্লাস চলছে একটু পরে হ্যালো আরে ক্লাস চলছে আমার অনলাইনে পরে 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 হ্যাঁ okay now so I think this part is clear to you. Now next we'll discuss another interesting aspect, that is the reaction mechanism, how we can formulate the differential rate law based on some concept, theoretical concept. One is most of you are familiar with the steady state approximation, right? This is one thing, and there is another approach that is we call rate limiting step approximation. Rate limiting step approximation, that we'll also discuss. And same reactions, if you carry out, if you consider in both mechanisms, then you can get the same results. That means these two alternative approaches are equally good, right? So that's why you can learn a lot regarding these two approaches. Yeah, okay. So first we'll discuss what is steady state approximation, when we apply it, and how to predict the reaction mechanism based on this general approximation. Say we consider a reaction which proceeds in two consecutive steps. R reactant to product intermediate species I, then intermediate species I reacts to produce the product. So this is a two-step reaction like that. Overall reaction is represented by R to T. Basically, it is not a single or elementary reaction. It is not a single step reaction reacting to product. Rather, it is a two-step reaction while intermediate species I, while intermediate species I is involved, right? While intermediate species I is involved, like this. Okay. Now, for simplicity, we assume that both will be first order rate equation, is forward and backward. So, if we plot reactant concentrations like this, so basically this is a reaction that we call consecutive reaction, a very simple reaction. If we plot concentration versus time, then we see that reactant concentration will be, as usual, first order rate equation decreases steadily like this, and product concentration increases like this, following the equation that we discussed earlier for the first order reaction. And now, what is the fate of intermediate species? We see that it increases and then reaches a maxima and then suddenly falls like. So that means the concentration of intermediate species increases at the very beginning and it quickly saturates, means attains its highest value and then again falls off like that. And this period we call induction period. During this induction period, the intermediate species gradually accumulate, which is however decreases suddenly. So what we can assume that the rate of decrease of reactant species, right, must be much less, much larger compared to that of intermediate species, right? And also the rate of formation of the product is much larger than the rate of decomposition of the intermediate species. So physically, what does it mean? That means the rate at which the intermediate species is formed with respect to reactant. Overall, this is very important. Overall decrease of rate, overall lowering of rate of the reactant species will be much larger than the formation of intermediate. Because as intermediate species is produced, it will rapidly decay to product. So this is very important. This is very important. Okay. So what we can say, that is di dt equal to 0 for an intermediate species. Can we write like this? These we call steady state or stationary state approximation. This we call steady state or a stationary state approximation. What is that? After the induction period, the rate of formation of a reaction intermediate is equal to its rate of destruction, so as to keep its concentration nearly constant. That we call steady state concentration. So this is the stationary state condition. What is that? After the induction period, the rate of formation of reaction intermediate is equal to its rate of destruction, so as to keep its concentration nearly constant. And this we call steady state concentration. Okay. Now, based on this idea, let us explain this rate law. So, this is a reaction that is, you are familiar with this reaction, that is nitration of aniline, right? Nitration of aniline, and it produces this diazonium cation, and the observed rate law is given by this. That is rate equal to H plus HNO2 plus Br. This is the observed rate law. Okay. So at this stage, please carefully note. Now we can propose a reaction mechanism like H plus plus HNO2 equals to H2 NO2 plus. This is reversible step. Forward rate constant is denoted by K1 and backward is K subscript minus 1. Okay. This is a very fast reaction, first one. Second step, it involves this reaction H2NO2 plus Br minus rate constant denoted by K2. It produces ONBr plus. Okay. This is a very slow reaction. Now the first reaction is last step. ONBr, which is the intermediate produced here, reacts with aniline molecule, rate constant K3 produces C6H5N2 plus. Okay. Eject. What is the rate of formation of diazonium cation? It is written like this because it is produced from ONBr. Last step you see ONBr and C6H5NH2. In the last step, that is the product this is produced. Now, what is the intermediate? ONBr and another intermediate species you see in the first step, that is H2NO2 plus. So there are two intermediate species involved in this chemical reaction. One is H2NO2 plus, another is ONBr, nitrosyl bromide. Now we apply steady state approximation for both species. So we write this. First, we write ONBr dt equal to ddt of concentration of ONBr. Can we write? Now, what is the rate of formation of ONBr, ddt of ONBr? ONBr is produced, that is nitrosyl bromide is produced in the second step. followed by decomposition in the subsequent step, that is third step. So rate of formation of O in Br in general, that is K2 H2NO2 plus Br minus the last step, derivatization. Okay. That is rate of accumulation of intermediate species is given by the difference of the two rates of the reactions where it is associated. Okay. If you solve this equation, we can write concentration of O in Br like this. So the overall rate constant, rate R equal to, you can write, instead of O in Br, you put this expression, whatever, put it here. And if you simplify it, you will get it, the simplified expression. This is interesting. Now, steady state approx intermediate, another steady state intermediate, you apply steady state approximation, another intermediate, that is H2NO2 plus. We can write the rate of formation of this intermediate, which appears in the three reaction species. In the first step, mind that it is a reversible value. So we have considered it is produced in the forward step and subsequently decomposes in the reverse step. So that's why I've written like this. And it is also decomposes in the second step. So that's why we have written the rate of formation of H2NO2 plus this intermediate species. Any confusion at this stage? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
If you have any doubt or any question, please ask any question. I think these are very simple and elementary. Okay. So if you solve this equation, you get H2NO2 plus. Right. Okay. And put this expression of HNO2 in the second equation. And it appears like this. So these expressions ultimately we obtain based on steady state approximation. Now if we assume that the second step is much faster, much slower, because second step we made it slower. If you could remember, of the three steps, the second step is slower. So yes, this is nothing but the reaction of HNO2 plus with Br minus. This is the rate. And first one is the rate of decomposition of that intermediate. The second step we have taken much slower compared to this one. That means ultimately we can write this expression because this part is cancelled out. So you can write the simpler expression. And in that case, in the denominator, the second part K2 Br minus is dropped. So we get a simplified rate equation like this. Okay, which has been observed, which is the observed rate law, differential rate law. Is it all right? That is, we establish the
Yes,
fact
sir, I have a
of
doubt.
the rate law. Do you have any doubt? Hello?
Yes, sir. Sir, why
Which
are
one?
we considering that the second state is lower? Like,
This one, this one.
yes, sir.
Yes, this one. That is the decomposition of H2NO2 plus. That rate, I am telling that rate is faster. Because first step we have assumed that it is reversible first order reaction. Sorry, reversible reaction, the first step, which is very fast. Means both forward and backward, both are faster. And the slowest step is the second level. Okay. So that we can explain this observed rate law. If we approximate that, then only we can explain this observed dynamics. That is very important.
Sir, can you please share the PDF with us?
Share?
Sir, the PDF.
Okay, that I can share you, the document, original document that I can share you. In the Google Classroom, I'll put it inside, okay? Now, so this is one application of steady state approximation to elucidate the reaction mechanism. Now, this is a home assignment. Just like apply the steady state approximation to the mechanism. Yes, someone does it. Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay. So I have to give you the Uber sandwich. We are in this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to give you the reaction mechanism. Unless I give you the reaction mechanism, you cannot proceed anymore. Yes. Okay. So this is the proposed reaction mechanism that I have given you in my assignment. Okay. Overall rate equal to K, concentration of H2O2, H plus and I minus. First one is the rapid equilibrium, means both forward and backward, the first reaction, formation of HI and its ionization to respective ions. Then the fluid step is the second one, reaction between H2O2, hydrogen peroxide and hydrogen iodide to produce water and hydrogen halide, right? Hypohalide, HY. Then the HOI, hypoiodic acid, reacts with I minus to produce I2 and OH minus with constant K3. And the last faster step is also formation of water from constituent ions. Okay. So this is the overall rate equation. This is the reaction mechanism we have proposed. And by using the steady state approach that we have discussed right now, using that you have to derive this proposed reaction order. That is observed rate law. Okay. There you have to. Okay. This is the observed. So from steady state approximation, you have to derive it. There is another equation I can give you. This is a very typical equation. Say, for example, this reaction, this is very interesting. Formation of NO2 from NO, nitric oxide and O2. Okay. Formation of NO2 with observed rate constant is given by this K, concentration of NO square. Right. There are several reaction mechanisms that can be proposed. So number one, I am proposing number one, that is this one. Yes, this is one. Rapid equilibrium followed by the reaction which is slow. Right. So this is a two-step reaction where the first step is rapid equilibrium followed by a slow step, that is formation of NO2 plus N2O2. So here rate determining step is which one? This one. Okay. Okay. Then reaction 2, mechanism 2.
The slowest step is the rate determining step.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. No, this is what I am telling here. Yes, this is not this. This is another reaction mechanism. It is a single step reaction maybe. Okay. You don't consider this one. Okay. You take the first two, one, two. Then second case. This is the first case, second case. This is a two-step mechanism. NO to NO3 equilibrium, followed by a slow step NO3 plus NO2 to NO2. This is another reaction mechanism. And third is another reaction mechanism, like a single step reaction, NO plus O2 to NO2 direct. So first is
Sir, among these,
yes,
sir,
yes.
among these three, which is preferable?
No, these are the three possible ways the reaction mechanism can be proposed. Now, we use first steady state approximation as well as rate determining step approximation. Rate determining step approximation we have not discussed yet, but we can discuss it in a simple manner. Say, for example, which is the most appropriate? That is very difficult to say. All three are equally poor, right? All three are poor. That's why it is proposed like. Now look, how to proceed, how to explain the mechanism. In all cases, you see, in the rate determining step, total, what is the total composition? It is given by N2O4. If you look at, say, first one, right? If you look at the second step, the case 2, if you look at case 3, which is single step reaction, so there is no question of RD. So in all cases, what we see, total composition in the RD step is given by N2O4. Yes. Now, say we are discussing or considering the case 1, two-step reaction. First is NO2 in formation of N2O2 followed by slower step N2O2 plus O2 to this. This is a very simple illustration. You see, what is, since the first step is reversible equilibrium, what is equilibrium concept in concentration scale that I have written? Let Kc prime equal to K1 by K minus 1, ratio of the rate constant of the reversible reaction is given by N2O2 by N2. This you know how to write down the equilibrium constants that I have written for the first step. Since the reaction second step is slower, so we can write the overall rate of the reaction depends on the slow step. So that's why we write overall rate of the reaction equal to K2 concentration of N2O2 and O2. Now what is N2O2? What is the concentration of N2O2 that we substitute from here? That is N2O2 equal to Kc prime or K1 by K minus 1 into rho. Just put it here. And ultimately what we get is simple expression where we have absorbed all these three and it calls them as K. So this is the observed rate of the reaction. This we call
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
Sir, I think the time is up. We are getting late for the next class.
okay. So this is the rate determining step approximation that I have shown for case 1. And for the remaining one, you try yourself and deduce the observed rate law, that is K NO2 squared O2. I think you will get the same observed rate expression whether you follow the reaction mechanism as shown in case 1 or case 2 or case 3. Okay, okay, that's all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.